Hello everyone, welcome, my name is Phoenix and this is the Consumer's Guide to Filmmaking. Send Help, 2026, Sam Raimi. Send Help follows a woman named Linda Little. A data analyst for a major company, Linda is all set for a big promotion to VP. However, when the son of the late CEO, named Brad Preston, finally takes command of the company, he gives Linda's VP spot to a dude named Donovan. But Brad, out of pity, invites Linda on a major business retreat with Donovan and the rest of the higher-ups. Unfortunately, for some, this retreat turns into a nightmare, as the plane hits some massive turbulence and crashes into the ocean. When Linda wakes up, she finds that her and Brad are the only survivors and are stranded on a desert island. With no other options, Linda must take care of Brad and herself and pray that they survive. What is interesting about Sam Raimi's new joint here isn't exactly the movie itself. We will talk about the movie in a bit, as it was very fun and entertaining, but its release and context is what makes it fascinating. This was the film that Markiplier's Iron Lung was competing against, and beat in the box office for that weekend. That weekend saw a scrappy, independent director who self-financed his whole operation facing off against an established vet with big studio money behind him. In a certain way, it was like Sam Raimi was seeing his younger self and competing against that. Now, it goes without saying, and God bless Mark for putting his best foot forward. There's a full review of Iron Lung on the channel where I talk about what Mark does with that film, but Mark Fishbach is not Sam Raimi. Markiplier could never have made The Evil Dead in his wildest fucking dreams. In my mind, though, I have to think Sam Raimi, 40 years into a filmmaking career, having made some of the most legendary movies ever, smiled at seeing an independent director succeeding in ways that mirror his own start in the filmmaking world. But this is a movie review. I have to talk about the movie now, so let's get into it. Send Help very much has all the hallmarks of a Sam Raimi movie. Visually, you can see Raimi's tricks in the editing, and you can see it in how he frames certain shots. He loves stark Dutch angles, and his framing is pretty much picture perfect. The first 5 to 10 minutes of the film visually gave us the core components of Linda's character perfectly, and set up things going forward. But like any Raimi feature, Raimi knows how to present gore. The entire gore sequence is straight up an Evil Dead bit. Blood and snot just spraying everywhere, the cuts happening at just the right moments to introduce practical effects. Sure, the computer effects at times could be dodgy, but dodgy effects have become a staple of Raimi's movies. Musically, we have the great Danny Elfman composing the score. Elfman's style is always so varied, and that's what impressed me with this arrangement. The guitars, the low strings that fit perfectly with the desert island setting. But Elfman's music is always known for being blustery and big, and it does delve into that at points as well. Part of what aids in creating the tone of this film, though, is the use of licensed music, particularly Blondie. This film opens on the song Rip Her to Shreds and ends on the classic One Way or Another. Both apt songs, and both are used really well throughout the film. The script by Damian Shannon and Mark Swift is about as Sam Raimi a script as it gets, and I think Sam did a great job of emphasizing those elements. The film has a great sense of tone. It balances the weight of the situation well, but always reminds the audience of how hammy and silly the premise is. The scene where Linda pretends to castrate Brad is quintessential Sam Raimi, simultaneously uncomfortable and really funny. The scene where Brad and Linda get drunk and start spelling their guts out to each other was great for getting us to connect to these characters more. The two-person cast of Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien really understood the assignment with this film, as both are hamming it up like champs. Rachel McAdams was dorky and cringe almost to a cartoonish extent. Dylan O'Brien's scumbaggery was also feverishly cartoonish. But when they were on the island and the emotions start shifting, these two were crushing those transitions and really had me invested. However, I get the feeling that this script could have gone farther with the goofiness and that McAdams and O'Brien could have handled it well. Like, the final fight was fun, but it could have upped the ante more and resembled something like Evil Dead 2 or Army of Darkness, at least in tone. If there were people still there at the mansion for some function and this fight just spilled over into that would be funny. You could get some wonderful comedy bits out of that. There's so much potential for goofy slapstick with that. But sadly, the script played it safe. Decently structured, and even with an obvious twist, it still kept me invested, but it played it safe. So, in the war between Iron Lung and Send Help, I think both parties won in some way or another. Sam Raimi, a legend in this game, came out with a film that has his style written all over it. Is it up there with his best work? I wouldn't say that, but it's definitely a fun time. The other party, though, much like Sam Raimi did all those years ago, has inspired a new generation of independent filmmakers. Whether you went and saw Markiplier's self-financed debut or Sam Raimi's latest big-budget Bloodfest, I think everyone got what they wanted. And that's cool. And I am feeling a 6.5 out of 10 on Send Help. That's really generous. It's really generous, but Sam Raimi. Can't go wrong with Sam Raimi. Catch you later, guys.